I'd like for you to meet Andy. Andy is someone you already know. He's a top performer in his sales organization. In fact, you can always count on him to hit his number. He's got the uncanny ability to break into new accounts. You would refer to Andy today as a high-intensity knowledge worker. Andy is so dependable. He checks his email nights and weekends. He's always working. He's always on the run. And he's the guy you can go to and give more to and give more to. But the question I want to ask you is, how much harder can Andy work? It's like the U.S. economy. How much higher can our debt go? How much more can we load it on? We look at people and individuals. I mean, how much harder can those people work and still get the same job done without burning out? And if we look at a runner and running marathons, my wife's a marathoner, with people that run, there's a terminology they utilize called the wall. When someone runs and they hit a point where their body just shuts down. It just can't take anymore. It just can't break through. It's stuck. Well, the company's happy though. I mean, on the side of Andy, hey, I'm getting the return on the investment. I got a comp plan that's built and incentives, and I'm paying Andy for the return that I'm getting on the investment of Andy. It's all good. But really, is it all good? What is this creating? Well, it's creating a new level of complacency where people like Andy are becoming numb and callous. In essence, on the outside, they look happy. They're busy, they're active, they're getting things done, they're accomplishing their goals. But on the inside, they're living a life of quiet desperation. Not only aren't they fulfilled, they're no longer engaged. They're doing just the bare minimum to get by and hit the number that's being tracked. Sooner or later, they hit the wall when there's nothing left to give. In the world of get stuff done and other analogies that are out there using other words than stuff, we're asking people like Andy to do more, to give more, and to produce more. But the true cause of the problem is really hidden. The answer to the problem is not doing more. The answer to the problem is not dialing in more metrics. The answer to the problem is not MBOs and KPIs and building dashboards. Though these are an integral process of today's economy, yes, we need to know where we're at and we need to track activity. But we need to realize that when we ask a human being to give all they've got, and then we ask them to give more, sooner or later, that person is going to get tapped out. They're going to hit a wall. And the only way we can get them to break through, the only way we can do it, is to get that person to be a higher version or a better version, if you will, of themselves. So we fail to realize who Andy can really be. It's not a doing problem. It's a being problem. If Andy can be a better version of Andy and align certain principles into what he does for his company and for his sales, you're going to get such a stronger, more deliberate, actionary, consistent, and compassionate Andy. And I'm asking you today to help me save Andy. In fact, there might be many Andys working in your organization. I'm sure there are. So how do you help me save Andy? Well, I've set up an event on April 3rd, 2013 in Burlington, Massachusetts called the 7 Levels of Sales Mastery. And you say, well, okay, well, who are you and what do you know about mastery? Well, I've had over 20 years working for a Fortune 100 company, not only in sales, but leading sales organizations for inside and outside sales professionals. I've mastered the art of Sanshin Karate. I'm still a student, but I've been studying for almost 30 years and rank at a 7th degree black belt. And I've looked and I've found and I've studied. In fact, at NLP, I tracked down a guy named Wyatt Woodsmall who was the same coach who trained Tony Robbins, and I started practicing the art of modeling, where I'd look within an organization that I started doing consulting several years ago, and the companies I was working with, whether they were a $2 million company upwards to a Fortune 50 company, and I found similarities. I found things that they would do well that would move them forward and allow people like Andy to really break through and not only break record numbers, but show up at a whole different level and quite frankly stay with the organization. Because the end result, if that person does burn out, if they hit the wall, sooner or later, they're going to leave. They're not going to stay. They're going to go somewhere else. That's part of the reason we're seeing so much high turnover today. So on April 3rd, 2013, the event Breaking Through the Wall, the 7 levels of authentic sales mastery. I'm asking you to join me. I'm going to have 30 people available to sit in this room with myself and JD Gershbein, who I'm going to talk about here in a second. We're going to be meeting from 9 to 1:30. And there's a link right here on the page. You can see that here at http://chrisyonker-link.eventbrite.com to register for the event. And here's some of the things we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about what sets a high potential team member apart. We're going to talk about the elements that build the environment to allow that person to flourish. One of the missing ingredients today is very common in organizations. And organizations have a vision and a mission and a purpose, but they haven't aligned that with the individual, that salesperson that works for us. And I'm going to talk about how to do that. We're going to talk about why most sales training out there today falls flat on its face and it doesn't create permanent change, which is what I specialize in. We're going to talk about why most time management programs fail and how to get people more specific on what they can control and not what they can't control. We're going to talk about what kills motivation. We're going to talk about how to avoid becoming overwhelmed. And I'm so fortunate and so excited that I got JD coming in. I could talk alone just on this guy. JD Gershbein's flying in from Chicago. He is the leading expert in LinkedIn. He's the #1 authority on how to use LinkedIn to generate leads. And I believe today it has never been easier in any time in history to find people, get emails, get phone numbers, to call people and get a hold of someone. And it's never been harder than any other time in history to connect with someone, to get their attention, to create some relevance, to get them to listen to what you have to say. And JD and I are going to talk about just that idea, and he's going to talk about the art of using LinkedIn, which is probably one of the top tools we have today in business, and how he's helping companies convert leads and create clients using that tool. And he's going to unleash his top tactics. So right now, I'm asking you to click on this, go ahead and type this URL in. You can go to my website, chrisyonker.com, under events. That's another way to get to it, and register. There's only 30 seats available. They're going fast. Don't delay.